Hello folks, and welcome back to Dishonored, and to the very first episode of Brigmore Witches, the DLC campaign. And that is what's her face? Delilah Copperspoon. I just remembered her name there. It's been a bit since I recorded it. It was Wednesday when I last recorded this. When I last opened this. I want to say I opened it without playing it, but I don't remember if I did do that. Regardless, it's been a couple of days since I last played, and been a few days since I last played, and my mind's a little foggy. Memories have gone a little foggy. New game. A save game of Knife of Dunwall has been found. You can use your progression in the Brigmore Witches. You will retrieve your equipment and powers. Which progression do you want to use? New game or low chaos? Low chaos. You choose to use the low chaos progression of Knife of Dunwall in the Brigmore Witches. Continue? Yes. And we'll do veteran. I could go up and do Master Assassin, a brutal experience, but I won't. Veteran. Creating a new game will override the Brigmore Witches autosaves. Continue? Don't think I had any. Oh, I just remembered something. Well, I remembered something I was tweeting about earlier, not too long ago actually, and I just wanted to say it because it's actually rather funny. I saw someone's hot take of Littlefinger from Game of Thrones recently. It's a name within the fan community thing. He's been he seems to be like some of the people I watch. He does analysis, but his analysis seems pretty fucking weak on this regard. So it just makes him look like an idiot. To speak a little bluntly, he was trying to compare Peter Baelish and Gamergate and MRAs. Yeah, he was trying to equate them. There was just like, it was like concentrated bat guano. I was just like, I just couldn't say no to it. Well, I couldn't say no to it. I couldn't say no to, taking screenshots and talking shit about it, or mocking the guy, because it's very, very silly. Very silly. So yeah. So if you want to find that, well, good luck. You'll have to use Twitter advanced search by the time this comes out. So I wish you luck. Actually, I'll have a quick look at the phrase. My phone here. I can get you a tweet you can use to find it. In Twitter advanced search you can put in my name and like some words I've used. Oh God, I can't tell if he's. Oh God, I can't tell if he's joking. Use that, you'll find it. So yeah, plenty of long Twitter, bitching there. So yeah, troubled sleep. You've been sorry for the little detour. I just wanted to say it while it was on my mind there, just because it is very silly, very, very silly. And actually, that one tweet I sent you to was like my most well done tweet. Like it so far. It's only been up a couple hours, but it's like on par with the sexy maid I put up. Went back when I was recording Red Faction Gorilla. It's after doing as well as that, I would say. I don't remember how well that was doing, but I remember it had like 90, 18, 19 likes. This is 20 likes and 10 retweets. So it's doing pretty damn well. Troubled sleep. You've been out of ease ever since you assassinated Empress Jasmine Caldwin and aided in the abduction of her daughter Emily. So, anyway, sorry for the little detour. I just wanted to say that, while it was on my mind. Because, like I said, it is very silly. It's like one of the hottest takes I've seen, and it's Probably, up there on the, worst takes of Littlefinger. Well, maybe it's not the hottest take I've seen, but, it's certainly batshit. It's like he has a checklist of weird things to compare Baelish to, and for whatever reason, they're on top of the list. However little sense it makes, you'll make it. You make the comparison. Anyway, I rambled too long.
He knew. The black-eyed bastard knew that when my blade stilled the Empress's heart and delivered her daughter to the Lord Regent's men, everything would fall to pieces. He watched me do it anyway. And now the world's gone mad. Plague grinds the city down. Corruption rots. A mad killer roams the streets by night, seeking revenge. The overseers have stormed my hideout in the flooded district. And I'm in a strange duel with a mad witch named Delilah for the fate of the Empire. I'd say I was being punished, but I know that the world doesn't punish wicked people. We make our choices and take what comes. And the rest is void. I can't say I wasn't warned.
Again, sorry for the long tangent.
The men are recovering well from the attack, but they don't understand the danger they're in. My mother warned me never to make an enemy of a witch. Corvo, here to settle our debt. You understand, I won't make this easy for you.
Defeat Corvo. What do I have? I have little to nothing. I have 2 heals, 2 manas. I've got Blink and 5 darts. Oh, didn't want to do that. Eat it. Oh, shit. Blink. Oh, not blink. Dart. Ow. I hate vacuum. Damn it. Hey. You know what would be cool? Is if you could, knock darts out of the air with your sword if you had timed well, or... That was weird. Or you had, the slow thing going. But that... Wait. They're floating. Just know these books were floating.
What is it?
Thomas has returned with the information you requested. He's waiting for you below.
I wonder if anyone ever told that dude that was creepy. Parting shot. Parting shot. Deliver or attempt the killing blow on Corvo. So he just had a dream about the fight with Corvo. Okay. I only realized near the end that's what they were intending with the floating books. So... The reason I brought up, knocking the darts out of the air thing was, for a moment, it ended up looking like Corvo did that. To be honest, the darts didn't really look like they were having much effect on him in the first place, but for whatever reason, I swore I saw an effect, like the dart hit off his sword, and was just blocked because of it. So, that's where my mind went. In a time of political upheaval, there are provisions in place for a staged transfer of power, that which we goals in mind. The first is minimization of incentive for coup. There is no predetermined person or position within the government that is scheduled to take on the mantle of regency during a time of crisis. Instead, a regent is chosen by parliamentary court. This serves to avoid promoting a path of derelict ascendancy and discourage those who would scheme for such a turn of events. It is the assumption of our governing documents that such a legislative body will always have the wisdom to see through would-be usurpers. The second is the assurance of stability for the Commons during and after transitional phase. During during an interregnum while a region rules the land, there are categories of laws and decrees that cannot be altered without a majority vote from Parliament. The daily life for the people will not change dramatically during the time of regency, or shift drastically once the proper heir takes up the throne. Third, and perhaps most importantly, is that a worthy successor is found. In order to rule out hasty action and maximum stability, there will be no term limit or duration applied to the period of regency. Historically, such rash decisions have been greatly contested, resulting in extended political turmoil or outright conflicts. When the proper heir is found and the position is filled by someone worthy of the role, all others will fall in and provide their support. Interesting. Cobbled bits of bone. Excerpt from a journal covering various occult artifacts. Okay, I was just having a quick read. They say my mother was a witch, but the truth, as so often is the case, depends on perspective and your place in the world. She relied on poisons made from exotic herbs and the blowfish that live in the reef waters near Pandicia. Her powers originated in hallucinogenics, delivered through guile or by force to those who crossed her. There was an unusual intensity in her gaze for certain, but it came from within, not from the outsider. It's what happens to anyone pushed to the absolute edge of sanity and survival, who stays there for years and returns to walk among the sheep in so-called civilized society. My mother was crafty, but if it was anything more than powders, knives, and guile, I never saw it. Like they tell children, some of those truly touched by the black-eyed bastard move through space between rooftops like a sparrow. Others command armies of rats or poisonous flies as easily as they wiggle their fingers and toes. The overseers are right to fear us, to warn the common folk to stay in their homes at night and keep their families close. But there are other ways his influence manifests itself. Those who serve me share in some of what I do, and I suspect it's the same for Delilah Copperspoon's coven. This is Dowds. Then there are those who can craft runes and charms. The old woman across town, they call her Granny Rags. She carves and polishes the bones of whales, stringing them together and opening them to the void until they moan like the fever sick on a cold night. I found a few of her talismans, and with each one I touched, a tiny bit of me departed and settled with her. What does she gain? A longer life? Some other kind of power I don't understand? Making of such things is beyond me. I've known 4 people in my time who carried the mark of the outsider, but I know dozens more who wanted it, who stood at night in stagnant ponds or begged with dust blowing through graveyards. People who gutted farm animals and burned the flesh of men, think he would call forth the void. I met a dying man who had collected runes and charms for years, crushed them all into powder, made a paste and ate them, thinking he could gain whatever magic was in the things. His death was long and painful. I also knew a woman from Karnaka who would trade charms and other bits of whalebone. She cracked them apart and fused them back together and sold them. I bought one of these corrupted charms that she swore would cause sharp metal to break out my skin, and it worked. But each time I did it, one of my teeth turned black and fell out. After the 3rd time I gave it to one of my men. Now when he smiles, it's all bleeding gums, and I wonder what parts inside him are turning black. Sometimes I ask myself, without these gifts, would I be a man to fear? Would I be called the Knife of Dunwall, with my name whispered through the markets and alleyways, and the high towers and drawing rooms? I'd like to think so, but it doesn't really matter. As long as I bear this mark, I'll use whatever crafts I have to force my will in the world. The harder the trick is undoing what I've done. The harder trick is undoing what I've done. Gotta be honest, I'm partly tempted in re-recording this, but I'm not sure if I should. In all honesty, No, that's not done out actually how I want it. Thought it was for a moment. But yeah, I'm happy with what I said. I just feel like I should have said it at a later time. But yeah, just bringing it up because I found it so fucking silly. But yeah, sorry, my mind is just fixating on it now because I felt awkward about saying it in the first place. It's just how my mind works. Though then again, I suppose that's how everyone is. If you're feeling awkward about something, you kind of end up tending to think about it. So, excerpt from a pamphlet published in response to the plague. Dunwall, the seat of power in the known civilized world, the Empire of the Isles. It is our great capital, and it is brought low, and it has been brought low by vermin, the very taught Gauls. We're faced with reality that our once great city is in a state of shambles, and the few remaining domiciles in any habitable condition are the estates of those wealthy enough to ward themselves against that reality. So they can city cannot continue to thrive, populated only by the upper classes and their cloistered sycophants. Even if the plague were gone tomorrow, in its present state, Dunwall doesn't have hardly enough people of working age to return the city to everyday function. We must find a way to attract more residents, which requires removing the god of fear brought by the current regime. The Lord Regent and his lackeys are bad for business, my friends. So it falls on us. A plague and a tyrant must be overcome. And after that, we must undertake a third miracle, turning the screws on the obscenely wealthy, forcing them to pay back into the place that has given them their privileged lives. It is the powerful and fortunate who must pay for the rebuilding of Dunwall, even if the poorest will bear the stones and timbers of reconstruction on their backs. All this must happen for the dormant machine of commerce to restart. Without that, we are all forfeit. The greatest city of our age will be lost. In all honesty, that does sound like it will be the case. I was thinking I had the list, the abilities done outright, but like by default, but doesn't seem so. Ports of call. The hotkeys, I thought they were done right by default, but no. Like I said when I noticed that I didn't have all my stuff yet, the other stuff is not in the right order either. Or there at all, on the hot list at all. Excerpt from a guide to port cities across the Empire of the Isles. Potterstead, Bristol. A small town, but the locals are charming and the ale is unmatched. We started to visit during the month of winds for their pennant festival. Dunwall, Bristol. Notes in the capital city could fill a dozen such volumes. All delights exist in Dunwall if you got the coin, and all miseries if you're broke. Unless you're well connected through someone in Dunwall Tower, one of the key families, the city watch, or the river patrol, make sure your permits are in order. Otherwise, you're likely to have your cargo seized by the port authorities for any reason they care to concoct. Call Kenny, Morley. While the harbour master here is particular about the kind of goods you're carrying, the rest of the town is more lax. Be sure to visit the inn on the rock for the best mutton stew in all the Isles. Yarrow, Tivia. The cold here will snatch the breath from your lungs, but it is matched in equal strength by the civility of its well-mannered citizens. The cosy taverns are kept warm by their famously crafted iron stoves, though the northern food takes some adjustment. Sorry, my mind drifted back to the guy the tweets I was talking about. I'm not sure if I phrased it right, but the guy I think is involved in analysis of Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire stuff. I think I just said the analysis part and left the other bit out, but that's a relevant detail to it. Also, actually, we also did get to see how those recorder things work. While they're using the default model for the cards, what I think was meant to look like was a on-popped one. You put it in as you talk, different bits are popped out. So, which kind of makes sense to seeing a already made one, but so the thing that plays it also records it. So we got that answer. The cozy taverns are kept warm by their famously crafted iron stoves, though the northern food takes some adjustment. Bejeweled aristocrats laugh and drink side by side with weathered, leathery-skinned farmers, clapping one another on the back until the dim hours. It's hard to make a friend here, or to truly understand the world view of the native-born, but once you do, you'll have a friend for life. Koro Sakonis. This city is crowded in the warmer months, and for a good reason. You'll find yourself shoulder to shoulder with scantily clad locals and foreigners on holiday, pale skin burned pink by the sun, which somehow seems larger and brighter than Sakronos. The food, Colero, is a shining example of Sarkonan cuisine. There's always music, always dancing. Hand-rolled on the steps of tobacco shops, the cigars are of course fresher than the ones you've had shipped to other parts of the empire. Karnaka, Sarkonos. The jewel of the south at the edge of the world. The city is bustling with industry, after a wave of settlers from Morley, and an influx of wealthy trading companies from Dunwall. Everywhere go in Karnaka, there are new ideas, hybrid forms of music, groundbreaking theories of natural philosophy, and even extravagant delicacies made by mixing ingredients from all known cultures. The locals work tirelessly for their coin, welcoming out the elite from across the Isles. Ingot, corrupted charm. Corrupted bone charms are powerful bone charms that come with a cost. Locate them, like normal bone charms, by listening for the song they emit, or with the void gaze power. Equip them in the bone charms tab of the journal. A note from Billy. Dowd, no need to waste breath with apologies or excuses. You told me that. All I can say is that as soon as I left Dunwall with my head, all I can say